Us, directed by Jordan Peele, is one of the strangest horror movies I've ever seen. The premise of the story is that millions of cloned people live in tunnels under America, abandoned from a failed government experiment. They have nothing to eat but raw rabbit meat. For each underground dweller, there is a person who lives a normal life above ground. One of the clones then leads a rebellion to kill their surface-dwelling counterparts. The story begins with Adelaide Thompson, a little girl from a black family vacationing at Santa Cruz Beach in 1986. She wanders away from her father and into a hole of Mirror's carnival attraction. She becomes lost in the maze when she finds another girl who looks exactly like her, but is obviously not her reflection. Later, her parents find her, but to their horror discover she can't talk. They take her to a child psychologist who diagnoses her with post-traumatic stress disorder. The story then shifts to the present. Adelaide is now married to Gabe Wilson and has 2 children, teenage Zora and a little boy named Jason. Their family is vacationing at their summer lake house near Santa Cruz Beach. Gabe says he wants to visit the beach with the children. However, Adelaide is reluctant to go because of the trauma she experienced there as a child, but Gabe persuades her. At the beach, the Wilsons meet up with their wealthy white friends, the Tylers. While there, young Jason wanders off. His parents frantically search for him and find him only after Jason witnesses a homeless man with bloody hands standing like a scarecrow on the beach. The same man who was presumed dead in an earlier scene and taken away by an ambulance. Shaken by these events, the Wilsons decide to head home. Later that evening, silent strangers wearing red jumper suits appear on the Wilsons' driveway. Gabe attempts to scare them away by threatening them with a baseball bat. However, this does no good, and the strangers break into the Wilsons' home. Once inside, it becomes obvious the intruders are clones of the Wilson family. None of them can talk except for Adelaide's clone, Red, who speaks in a raspy, hoarse voice. She says her husband is Abraham, her daughter is Umbre, and her son is named Pluto. Red explains that there is a clone for each person in America, and that the souls of all Americans are tethered to the souls of the clones that live in the tunnels. For that reason, she refers to the clones as the tethered. She then tells the Wilsons it's time for the clones to untether themselves. A fight then ensues between the 2 families. Meanwhile, across the lake, the Tylers are having a similar experience, but they fare far worse. At one point, Kitty, the mother, while dying of severe wounds, orders her computer assistant to call the police. However, the computer misunderstands her and instead plays Fuck the Police by rapper J Dilla. After a bloody fight with the clones, the Wilsons flee in their newly purchased boat to the Tylers' home across the lake, only to discover the Tylers are dead, killed by their clones. The Wilsons then are forced to fight the Tylers' clones, whom they manage to kill. Afterward, while recuperating from the fight, the Wilsons learn from watching the news that the Tethered have launched a nationwide attack, killing most people in America. Also, the clones have formed a human chain across the country, mimicking the Hands Across America event of 1986. For the remainder of the movie, the Wilsons are engaged in a violent fight for their lives against the clones. The Wilsons eventually kill all of them except for Pluto, who immolates himself in the flames of a burning car. There's a surprise ending to the story which I prefer not to reveal for those who want to see the film. Us is filled with symbolism and biting social commentary. It criticizes Hands Across America, which was meant to raise money for the poor, but fell significantly short of its financial goal, with about half the donations paying for operational costs. Us echoes this disparity between the rich and the poor in America, showing that the impoverished tethered lead dismal lives, while their counterparts above live in comparative luxury, oblivious to the plight of those below. To emphasize this point, after the clones have broken into the Wilsons' home, Gabe asks, "What are you people?" Red then responds in a raspy voice, "We're Americans." Finally, the biblical passage Jeremiah 11:11 is alluded to at least twice. This passage describes God's anger at the people of Jerusalem for worshiping false gods. This is symbolized in the attack on the Tyler family, who are obsessed with wealth and luxury items to the point that they rely on a computer assistant to do simple things like turning on lights. Also, the movie's title, Us, can easily be interpreted as US, the abbreviation for the United States. I enjoyed this movie for its symbolism and social commentary. My only criticism is that it's not clear how the tethered survived for generations in the tunnels without outside help. Also, why didn't the tethered leave the tunnels many years ago? There was apparently nothing stopping them. Despite these plot holes, I'm going to give this movie 4 out of 5 stars. I hope you liked my review. If you did, please click like, subscribe,